I think the Fed goes bankrupt. I think the U.S. goes bankrupt. And I think that there's a lot of saber rattling going on. And the U.S. now is going to open up another front against China, as well as the proxy war in Ukraine against Russia. So this is the end of empire stuff. Well, on February 26th, effectively the U.S. Seized foreign assets and defaulted on their U.S. dollar obligations. So similar to 1971, when the U.S. defaulted to Great Britain, when Nixon went on the gold, took us off the gold standard. And this began this 50-year experiment of all fiat money, which was really the first time ever you'd had all economies running on a fiat standard, that nobody had any hard money. So, and then on February 26th was really an echo of that moment, the Nixon shock, really, when the U.S. essentially said that the dollar is completely untrustworthy and that we're going to default and we're going to seize reserves of foreign countries whenever we want to. And we've talked about convexity before and the central banks. And as a result of the 2008 bailout, they loaded up themselves with a lot of these debts. And if long-term capital management was leveraged at 100 to 1, the Federal Reserve Bank conservatively is leveraged at 50 to 1, if not closer to 80 to 1 right now. So if they try to take rates anywhere higher, you're going to have massive default at the central bank. The central bank is going to need a bailout. So in 2008, Federal Reserve bailed out Wall Street. They swapped all their bad debts for fresh treasury bills, and they put all that bad debt on the books of the Fed. Now all that bad debt is worth 0 cents on the dollar, and nobody wants to buy U.S. Debt anymore. The U.S. Treasury bond is being vomited from the reserves of countries all over the world. So this was a situation where Alan Greenspan, who was running the Fed at the time, lowered interest rates to bail out LTCM. And so all the pensioners in America had to collectively bail out these hedge fund guys in Greenwich, Connecticut, as Greg was saying, socialize the losses. And we saw that, of course, in 1987 when the plunge protection team was created. Again, Wall Street lunch was saved, but the losses were distributed to the masses, and the Wall Street was saved. We saw that in the 2008 subprime crisis. Again, the bankers were saved and everyone else had to suffer. And we're seeing it right now. There's the crisis part 2 from 2008, and everyone who's on Wall Street and is a banker is getting bailed out, and everyone else is suffering from inflation, and everyone else is suffering from price distortions and social unrest. Again, it goes back to this idea of moral hazard, which is, again, the wiggle room. When the central bankers and Al Greenspan and others, or Ben Bernanke or Jay Powell says, we have the right to engage in moral hazard. We have the right to bypass ethics, morality, and the legal system to protect the functioning of these markets and to protect the liquidity of these markets. I think we're basically in the 4th cycle of scammers. So the Raoul Pal and Mike Novogratz and a few others are kind of at the center of this latest wave of bubble and scams that have come into so-called crypto space. And as Greg has pointed out, the asset class that is Bitcoin is kind of shrugging it off, and it's not really having an impact on Bitcoin at all, really. In days gone by, some of these major scams, like OneCoin was from a few years ago, and others, they had more of an impact on the price of Bitcoin. And what boils my blood is that rejects from Wall Street, like Mike Novogratz, who was kind of a hedge fund reject. He fucked up his hedge fund. He walked away from the industry for a couple of years and saw an opportunity to recreate all the scammy shit he was doing on Wall Street in crypto. Or Raoul Pal is another Wall Street reject. I guess he wasn't given a partnership option, so he kind of went away and crawled into a cave for a while and saw an opportunity come into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is both the greatest and the worst industry in the world. It attracts the worst people in the world. It also attracts the greatest people in the world. And it's this dynamic that we call price discovery. Right. The guy, Don Ho, or is it Do Kwon or Do Kwon? He had been involved in several scams before this one. So this was just the latest in a series of scams. And it was designed as a scam. It's similar to BitConnect in its design as a scam. And it blew up like a scam. It goes beyond just being sloppy. I think it's bordering on the criminal.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race. You're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.